All right, welcome back. Turning now to the White House. The leak of a Supreme Court draft opinion, 98 pages, published last night by Politico, is believed to be unprecedented in the court's history. The White House not saying so much here, though the president just put out a statement on that. For historical context, we go to Chief White House correspondent James Rosen live in our Washington newsroom. Good morning to you, first of all. Talk to us about how unprecedented this is. Has something like this happened before in our history?
Nothing like this has ever happened before in our nation's history or in the history of the Supreme Court, Sean. The leak of a draft opinion, as our guests and others have been telling us, is just simply unprecedented. And it is damaging to the Supreme Court as an institution. It is damaging to our democracy because it will almost certainly have the effect of inhibiting the justices from communicating freely with each other in the deliberative process wherein they circulate draft opinions back and forth to each other and try to get each other to change language, maybe even their position entirely. And so that process has been compromised and violated. It is almost certain that the FBI will be brought in as part of a leak investigation. That a decision, of course, that'll have to be made by the director of the FBI and the Attorney General. From the White House perspective, by the way, as we have been reporting, there was a statement issued a short time ago by President Biden stating that we do not know whether this draft is genuine or whether it reflects the final decision of the court. According to Politico, this draft was exchanged amongst justices back on February 10. One other precedent that comes to mind, however, somewhat analogous, is 1977. When Nina Totenberg, of then as now of NPR, covering the Supreme Court, correctly reported in advance that the Supreme Court had decided to reject the appeals of former Attorney General John Mitchell, former White House Chief of Staff H.R. Haldeman, and other aides to former President Nixon who were trying to appeal their convictions in the Watergate cover-up trial. The Supreme Court denied that appeal without comment, and Nina Totenberg in 1977 was able to break that story a few days ahead of the release of that decision. There was no opinion in the 1977 case. It was simply a denial of the appeal without comment. But Nina Totenberg was first. There have been other breaches of Supreme Court secrecy in the form of books by former clerks and that sort of thing, but this is truly unique and unprecedented, Sean.
Really quickly, someone brought up Justice Stephen Breyer's early announcement of retirement. That was leaked, announced a little bit before maybe he wanted to. Did you, in terms of comparing the two, obviously it's very much different, but there was a leak, and there is another one.
My former Fox News colleague and roommate, Brian Wilson, I think back in 2000, the early 2000s, whenever Sandra Day O'Connor retired, he broke that story ahead of time as well. So retirements of Supreme Court justices are also things that we see broken in advance from time to time.
All right, but nothing like a 98-page opinion there. Chief White House correspondent James Rosen live in Washington, thank you.
Some breaking news happening now. Voters in Ohio heading to the polls today, deciding on their Republican Senate nominee and also nominee for governor.
It comes after a contentious race filled with personal attacks and months-long battle for an endorsement from former President Trump. And today's primary could be a test of Trump's power over the GOP. One of those testing that is this man here, Republican Senate candidate from Ohio, Josh Mandel. I believe former Secretary of Treasury as well there in Ohio, with the backing of Senator Ted Cruz. Talk to me how this is going today. Obviously a major day for your campaign, sir.
All the early feedback we've heard from people at the polls is we're going to win this thing. As you mentioned, was honored to have the endorsement of Senator Ted Cruz. Spent this weekend barnstorming the state with him. You know, I'm running my campaign different than any of the other campaigns. Rather than running my campaign through traditional Republican Party groups, we've been running our campaign through churches. Senator Cruz came into Ohio for me this weekend. Last week, General Michael Flynn came in, and both with General Flynn and Senator Cruz, we visited churches around the state. Victory Christian in Dayton, Northwest Baptist in Toledo, High Street Baptist in Columbus, Immaculate Conception in Cincinnati, Solid Rock Church in Lebanon. And one of the reasons we're going to win this thing today is because we have an army of Christian warriors all throughout Ohio who are fueling my campaigns. I believe the secular left and the radical left are waging an all-out assault on Judeo-Christian values, on the family, and they're trying to brainwash our kids to hate America. And I think we need fighters right now in the U.S. Senate, fighters like me, Jim Jordan, Ted Cruz, who've got the backbone and the spine to stand up to these leftists.
Well, these votes offer people a voice to really let their opinions be heard as they head to the ballot box today. Let's take a closer look at the state of the race, perhaps from the latest polling. We know former President Trump did back your opponent, J.D. Vance, who's now leading, at least in this Trafalgar poll, 26% to you at 21%. So a 5 percentage point difference there. If you look at these numbers here, does that make you feel a little wary on today's turnout?
Yeah, the only poll we care about is the voters going to the polls today on May 3rd. People started voting here this morning at 6:30 a.m. They'll be voting till 7:30 p.m. tonight. And I'm confident when the results come in tonight, I will be the victor for a few reasons. One, as I mentioned, I'm the only candidate who at the core of his campaign is standing up for Judeo-Christian values. What does that mean? It means standing up to protect life from conception to natural death. It means I was the only person in this race who had the courage to be for the pro-life heartbeat bill in Ohio, and I actually took on John Kasich when he was trying to stop the pro-life heartbeat bill. I'm the only candidate in this race who's had the courage to take on Republican leaders when it meant standing up for religious liberty and the freedom of speech and religious expression for pastors and others to pray at the State House. I'm also the only candidate in this race who's taken the time to go down to the border, have toured the border with the Customs and Border Patrol, have seen with my own two eyes what's happening at the border. And I have a personal experience with borders. I spent part of my life in the Marine Corps and my first tour in Iraq. And there's actually a lot of similarities in that the border there was very porous, and the border at Texas and Arizona and California, Mexico is very porous because Biden is facilitating an invasion. And in the U.S. Senate, I will be a fierce proponent for deporting every single illegal. I believe that as long as we have 40,000 veterans living under bridges, we should not be spending one penny putting illegals up in hotels or giving them welfare or giving them college, financial aid. I think it's outrageous. And for me, it's all about putting Americans first ahead of foreigners, not because we hate people from other countries, but because we love America and love our families and love our friends and our communities. All
right, Josh, final question for you really quickly. Politico, as you know, a major story today, published that leaked draft opinion revealing the Supreme Court will vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. Obviously, this is making a lot of headlines, specifically there with Democratic senators calling for an end to the filibuster to get around it, to make it law, if that indeed does happen. When you heard this news, one of a leaked draft, a 98-page draft, which has never happened before, but also the news of what may become of Roe v. Wade, as a potential senator, what would that mean for you?
Well, as a longtime pro-life activist and lives, and it's, since 1973, the amount of babies who've been murdered is just outrageous and sad. And if this is true, then it's a great day for the unborn and for humanity. Regarding the leak specifically, make no mistake about it, this was leaked by the left to incite mob rule. Just like they incited mob rule against the police, just like they incited mob rule against parental rights over their kids, just like they incited mob rule during the COVID mask and vaccine mandates, just like they're trying to incite mob rule down at the border. The left's playbook is to incite mob rule. And when you incite mob rule as your first instinct and part of your playbook, what is it? It is a declaration of war on the family, a declaration of war on American citizens. It's a declaration of war on our freedom, on our Constitution, on parental rights, on states' rights, and on rule of law. Well, so that is what the leak is all about.
There's been calls for an FBI investigation into who is behind the leak. I know a lot of people have questions, including yourself. Josh Mandel, thanks so much for taking the time on this election day to join us right here on National Report. We will be watching the results of your campaign. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.